The major problem I've got right now is the software is not multi-threaded. It's a combination. I'm virtually certain my app is not multi-threaded, and I'm concerned that the software driving this may not be. But we'll take that one at a time. It's nice to have decent control at this moment. So let's again go stop and center, or front and center. I'm sorry, center. And then we're going to do what I call clockwise 3 times. It's just a little sequence. Remember Dave, when we demoed this in January or February, he was taking the switches right around. I'm thinking it does a little more gracefully than he does. Let's go back to center. Oops, I got enable. And here's where I get locked up. Another little bug, but that's okay. They'll all get worked out. Don't send that. First thing to do is connect. Update. So we're going to do a slow forward and emergency stop. Now I'm just doing enable, and we'll continue with that other action. So I did this in advance of connecting the seat belts, because what's really going to happen is when the seatbelt gets disconnected, it's going to hit the emergency stop, and it's also going to tell you which seat. Okay, so you'll know which row because of which card, and then which seat in that row. But the more advanced sequence things, the way I've currently got them coded, doesn't go back and check the stop. But I could certainly put that in there.
Are we doing that by row? Or are we doing that for the whole? We're probably doing that by row, right?
Well, we can do it several ways.
I definitely think you should have individual sense capability per seat, because then we can tattle on who's the person who pulled the seatbelt out.
Right.
But we probably want to just stop that row and let the other rows keep going.
Oh,
right?
and that's exactly the plan. As soon as anyone in the row breaks, the whole row stops.
And it doesn't restart when you refasten, right?
Yeah, correct.
You wouldn't want that.
Right. Right, because then it wouldn't be in sync. Well, true, it wouldn't be in sync.
And if you do 3 shows and you find the same seat keeps throwing, then you can maybe not have that seat be occupied, and
Right. There's things we can do.
We could probably have some kind of override.
Yep.
Hey, Dave. I know.
We've had computer control before. Now we're actually reading the pots, so we're able to center the things. The reason why they're at different tilts is I've got to make some more adjustments. This has all been rebuilt. We'll probably, we can talk about that in a little bit. Here's one sequence. This is, remember that January meeting you ran it around clockwise? That's what this is doing 3 times. So the next sequence I'll do is the centering, which again is a sequence. It figures out where it is, where it needs to go, and gets there. I call this the big X.
So it's actually going corner to corner, right?
Yes. If I do a forward slow, I can hit an emergency stop, re-enable. This is simulating the seatbelt coming out.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wanted to have the software there, so when I did the wiring, which will probably be tomorrow, then I'm able to to validate that it works. We got computer control with potentiometer feedback, so the computer is able to read both pitch and roll. We got speed control, 20 different speeds. Actually, it's a little more than that, but we'll probably only use about 20. Might only start with about 10. A couple of motion sequences have been pre-programmed. I rebuilt the frame. Before, what we had, you were able to see it easier. You had the actuators down below, then you had the line shaft, then you had the rods. Okay, and the problem is that from the actuators to the line shaft was really kind of all you needed. The rods had to be there, but if I flip things around, now I can double use that space. So I'm able to chop off about 9 to 10 inches.
Okay.
Which I did. You guys may remember before they were hitting. Ground off the corner a bit, actually cut off a corner and then ground it a little bit round. And that wasn't giving me near enough, so I took, something that we had talked about was making a 16-inch
Circle.
circle.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what that plywood is. We're not going to sit on that one, but it demonstrates that it's got all the space that we need, and then you get a whole lot less on the pinch points.
Okay.
And to me, it was important to have that demonstratable tonight for your work for safety. So, what I was more interested in was having the seat belt, showing people, that we are aware of safety. Yeah, thanks, Dave. And that we are able to cut it off when somebody disconnects, which will be wired up for next time. But there we have it. It's still tall enough. I wanted it tall enough that my feet didn't drag, but you don't have to worry about safety here. Your feet aren't going to get caught, unless somebody's trying to put the feet way up, which obviously, we'll talk about safety before we start.
Without even doing any testing on it, I mean, I can tell you that 1/4-inch plates are what's used to, for instance, you can, those are certified, 1/4-inch plate, 3 feet long and 16 inches wide is certified to lock down a power wheelchair. So it'll take 1,100 pounds of force anywhere on a pin in a lockdown assembly and not go anywhere.
Yeah.
So just guessing, I mean, that would still be way overkill.
Yeah.
And you could further get away with, just stick my head in the shot somehow. I mean, you could go as far as to actually do, a plate and even go lighter plate and then do your connecting points in a heavier material.
Mm-hmm.
But no, the whole idea was, we had already cut one down the last time. We decided we wanted to, obviously it had to be a little bit longer. If you made it too long, you couldn't drop your legs over the end of the seat. So the seat naturally makes your leg go through here. So I came up with what I thought was the most reasonable length for a standard size male to extend the bottoms, still allow someone's legs to drop through. And if we really wanted to get crafty, we could put a knob here and on the other side, and they would actually be handholds. Because this is still just templating product. I would probably do like 1/8 to 3/16 ABS, where it would be bendable, would have a memory, and it would be as strong as the rest of the seat in the end. But if you sit in it, what's interesting is you can take your hands and you can kind of run them all along this curve, but you can't put them anywhere past there. And that's where this whole curve came from, because originally we were going...
Right, yes.
So if you're a standard size male and you sit in one of these seats and you do this, that's what you're literally like, you can get your fingers over the edge of the curve.
Right. But you're not
if you've got longer arms, but you can't do anything past that.
If we can do this in QuickTime, it could actually be a totally separate track, like a MIDI track, maybe.
Okay, that's what you had said, MIDI track.
Yeah. I'm open to different things. There are a lot of different ways you can encode this.
One of the things I had hoped to do here, because initially I was thinking, when I was asking you what the script was going to look like, it was like, hey, Stephen, give me the whole thing, the 10 minutes, and say at 4 minutes, 12 seconds, point 2, do this. And then it's like, that doesn't really make any sense. Going to Rob's idea, there would be cues that say, okay, start this motion sequence now. We know how long it'll take and those kinds of things. So then, instead of it being one sequence that has lots of pauses, it would be multiple sequences that have at least probably a second in between.
Yeah.
Just so that if something's running a little slow, we'll have a chance to catch up. So you're seeing that, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why I wanted the longer rods. The longer rods help that a lot.
And then we're down to a single Heim top and bottom.
Yeah. That is true. Keep in mind, these guys got to be able to do this as well.
Yeah. And I think that's my only concern with my idea is I can make it really quiet. So I would be mounted. So if you took this guy, turned him sideways on a stud here, and then you'd have however much movement we got that way, and then you could still roll on it too, but we might be limited this way.
Right.
Based on the body of the unit.
Right.
the body of the actual hind.